Hey there creative people. In this video we are going to learn about Git and GitHub, which is used for a version control and other fundamental stuff which we are going to do in our project in future. So we are starting with our introduction where we Git what is Git and how it is being used as a important version control for any of the files and for projects. And second is difference between Git and GitHub. Now we are going to learn about a version control and some other Git fundamentals and how we will see the example, so how we can use the Git in our folders or projects exactly. And next we are going to learn about branching and merging in Git. Then we are going to see how the GitHub remote repository worked and how we can add files from our command line to the Git remote repository. Then we are going to learn about cloning in from our Git repository or any other Git repository to our system. Then we are going to head over to forking and pull request, where forking and pull request, it is a main topic which we are going to grab, and it is very important for those who are working with a team or a company, so they can work as a team for a same project. And at last we are going to learn about Git Ignore. It is a very useful file where we use for keeping the confidential files and folders. So for all of that, let's get started. At first, we are going to learn about what is Git. So Git is an open source version control software which gives various functionality projects towards the projects with speed and efficiency. Git works on command line terminals like command prompts and other remote terminals like Hyper. It can be also used as a default terminal. So the default we are using in this case the default terminal of Git, that is Git Bash. So in any type, if you are using a command prompts or Hyper, you have to install a Git Bash which will run accordingly with Git. So go to the Chrome, download Git Bash from Git website. You can download this from here, and now I've already downloaded it, so I'm going to show you this Git Bash. This is how it looks like, and you can do whatever command you want to use. This is list command, and this -a flag with list command, so the hidden files in the list here we can see. Now for next, what is different between a Git and a GitHub? So Git creates a local repository on a system based on the command line, and GitHub is a website which provides user interface for a remote repository. Git takes care of a version control of your project, and GitHub takes care of forking and pull requests for working in a team. Where Git provides a various options for our project applications, where GitHub provides multiple system access for one project. Think about a version control. So what is actually a version control? Let's see. Version control means something where you have updated your files. Actually, update your files on each and every step. Like I have made a file, which is any file. You can say the folder or file I have edited and updated as per anything. Okay, now I want to add something and get another version of it. So update it, we can update it by Git and provide another version of it. So basically the idea is when we are updating our another version, we also have the previous version control and the current version control, and this can be going further and further. We can make a various version and we can work accordingly to this. Now let's take an example. Head over to our open our Git terminal. Yeah, open, yes. cd over to downloads. Okay, and inside it I will make a directory named as practice. Okay, inside now we are cd over to the practice, and now we have to use Git, so we have to initialize the Git inside this directory. So I will do git init. Now Git has been initialized. We are in a master branch of Git, which is a main branch, you can say. Now I'm making a file named as a file1 dot txt, and now I'm opening it. Start file txt. Inside this file, I'm using hello, welcome to my ugly tutorials. Okay, I'm going to save it and cut it. Now, to see the if there is changes in this directory, we can head over to git status, and this is showing untracked file. Means we have not added this file to our local repository, and it has also see nothing added to the commit but untracked file present. Okay, now we are going to add it to the local repository. So what we do at first, we git add all dot for all. Okay, and this will make our file to add it to a staging area. The staging area is when we can, it is a middle part of a local repository and our working directory, where we can decide if we want to commit it and head it over to the local repository, or delete it and reset it actually. So I'm going to commit it. So git commit, I'm going to commit it with a message named as initial file one added. Enter. Now commit is set, so we can see with a git status here. Then the changes is committed, and now git file is added. I can make a multiple files and update it as per we want. Okay. Now head over to the second topic. A second topic is branching. With branching, we have, I told you that we are working in a master branch, and master branch I have done in the work and then committed. Then if we want another branch to be created, a custom branch where we can experiment on the main branch codes, like it won't affect to the master branch, but it can copy the master branch, and then we can apply a experimental change, like we are adding a feature, we are working on a feature that may be subset or not. So it won't be affecting the master branch, but it also work with the master branch simultaneously. And if we want another branch to be created from the custom branch, we can do that also. We can make another custom branch and then commit. And also the data from the master branch can be updated simultaneously, so it is won't difficulty for us to get simultaneously updated with the master branch. So we can see the example, like I am creating a branch with git checkout. This is a creation of branch flag, and I will give the branch name as home alone. Okay, yes, we have switched to the branch as home alone. We can see this here. So now inside the home alone, I will create a file called file2.txt. Okay, and inside file.txt, start file2.txt. I will open it and now written the jungle is very dangerous, and save it, close it. Now we are going to commit it, like git add git commit with file2 added. Now, oh, this is the main, this is the error usually comes. So I'm gonna, you can solve this error by this. You can control directly write it like git config. This error comes when a global user is not set and his user name and email is not verified by the new branch. So I'm going to write it. Yes, sorry, config I've had different. This error is come when we won't have globally set our username and user email ID. So I'm going to set it. I'm sorry guys, I have to cut out the video. I have to do the rest all the things twice. And now The main thing you have to do is to config as a global name or an email of user you are using to the at the master branch. When we are going to make this as master branch, we have to do this config to set a global user, and then we make a home alone branch, and in that home alone branch we add a file 2.txt, and inside the file 2.txt I have made the changes, and now I have come back to the master branch and see if the master branch have any changes or not. So git status, no branch master, nothing to commit, work free clean. Okay, I have nothing to commit, but I have list. Yeah, see, I have only file 1.txt, whereas in git checkout home alone, where in this branch I have two files like file 1.txt and file 2.txt. Oh, now if we now in the second part, merging, if our experimental branch came to a conclusion which we want to be merged with our main branch, and our main app or any other software have this, which we want this feature to be added to our master branch, so we will merge it. And how do we merge it? See, now for merging home alone branch to the master branch, I have to first check out to the current branch, that is master branch, to which I want to add a home alone branch. So git check out master. And now I have to merge it, so I will add git merge home alone. See, the fast forward file 2.txt, one file is changed and create a node insertion. So now we can check by git stat master branch, nothing to commit but the list with file 1.txt and file 2.txt. If we start our file 2.txt, we can see the saved lines. Now the next topic we are going to cover is GitHub remote repository. What is actually a remote repository? In our local repository, which is called as a Git, we have made a master branch, and many branch we have made a home alone branch and merged it then to the master branch, where we have files available. In a GitHub website, we want a repository which is a remote repository, and we want to make our local repository file to transfer over to our remote repository. So how we will do that? Let's see. First, go to GitHub. Make a new repository, name as practice. Yeah, this is available. We have to make it public if we want to share it, or private for no sharing, and to create repository. Now, in the last video, we have uploaded the file by drag and drop. Now we are doing it the command line. So we have to use this. We have to copy this URL, or this URL. It will okay. Anything will go okay. Now we have to use git remote, add this file here to origin, and now we have to paste the URL. So what is this? Is a I will explain this code. We know that we want to git remote add. This is a remote repository, and we want to add. And this, what is this origin? This URL we are not want to write again and again. So we have made this URL, given a URL a name that is called origin. You can name it as anything, but generally people use origin, upstream, etc. Don't know why. Now we go enter, and then we are going to push it to our remote repository. Remote repository name is origin, and we want to push our master branch. Now what is minus u? Sorry, dash u, or what can it? I don't know. This dash u means it is making a connection between our remote repository and our local repository with a master branch. So it makes our to what is my user. It is okay now. Yes, it is adding our files. Yes, it is done. Now if we refresh it, we have our two files on it. Now we are heading back to our next topic, that is cloning. In the cloning, you have any other repository, any ones, not us but anyone, we are working with another team or another company. We want their files and we work on it. And now to give for working on it, we can do our experiments on their files. So from their report repository, we want our files to be in our system. So we are doing a cloning, which is directly download all the files to our system. Like search any file. Like I'm searching Android. Anything you can give? Oh, not packages actually. I mean same URL. So now I'm searching Android. Here we can see they have written all their 84% code in Java and 50.8 in Kotlin. So we want to clone this whole bunch of file. We can directly do this with here. And if you want, we can use a command line and check out or download a zip file to our system. If you want to use this, you can copy this, and in our command line you can add git clone. Wait, now enter. It is now cloning. Okay, this will clone to our master branch. So now we are heading over to this next topic, that is FOking. As I told you, FOking is the most important topic we want to discuss. In FOking, we use our remote repository and the other one remote repository. We in forking their files, we will directly fork into our repository, our remote repository. We are not downloading a file or cloning a file. This is a forking which we can copy all its repository data to our repository data. Okay, let's see. Here I want to fork it. So this is where you can fork it, this repository. I don't have any Android repository available at my remote repository. If I will fork it, then it will head over to my account and give it a repository to my. I can use this repository now. I can pull out this repository to my system and I can make changes or add any features. Whatever you can do it. Now after adding the features, if we want our features to be added to their code, and if your feature is valuable and you want them to add your code to their code, so you have to do your pull request. So go to their repository and make a pull request with new pull request and commit it what you have added. Like you can see, these other members who have their pull request, and if the owner of this repository can check your files and folders, and if it is valuable and he also wanted to add those features you have made to his code, he will accept the pull request and the whole file and folder will be added to their resource. Now our last topic. Yeah, we have saved the pull request to our remote repository. We will give the pull request and to the it will give to the other repository. Now we get the last topic. That's a Git Ignore. Git Ignore is a file which stores the secrets and other confidential files and folder which we don't want to display by sharing our remote repository publicly. We have to make a Git Ignore file on our working directory file. Inside this file, we have a specify the file or a directory name on separate line for each. So let's see how it works. In our master branch, let's see what we have. We have Android folder and file.txt and file2.txt. Now if we don't want Android folder to be displayed or file2.txt to be displayed on our remote GitHub repository, we can make, first we have to make a git ignore file and start git ignore file to. You can use our notepad. In git ignore we want to add our Android folder. So keep in mind that every file and folder needs to be specified on a separate line. So in folder we have to use this last we have to use this to specify a folder name. And another is, I don't want to let the people to see my file2.txt. You can add a inside this. In this case we are adding the file to .txt, but in your case sometimes you want to add a password the file that keeps your password or API key or some other confidential data that you don't want other people to see. that is fully confidential. You have to keep in mind. Now I have to save this. Yes, it is easy to specify the file name inside the Git Ignore. Now we have to make any changes and git commit it the changes we want to add. So git commit, I have added files to git ignore. Sorry, I have not. Okay, we have specified, made the changes and added to our local repository. Now we have to push this to our remote repository, that is git push. We have already made our remote repository and now we are going to push it to the same repository with update. Push remote name is origin and branch name is master. Now enter. It will take some time because we have added an Android. We have cloned an Android whole bunch of file. Okay, fast. It has done fast. Okay, I don't mind. Now, if we go to our repository with practice, we can see file 1 and file 2 that we have at first we have initialized it, and we have a git ignore file which contains these two files. So let's revise what we have learned through this. We have two computers, like this is my computer or this is someone else's computer, like your teammate computer. Now in my computer I have a working directory where I have make a change, I have added a files, made the changes. Now I want to push this file to the local repository of mine, so I have git.add which will make that file to go to the staging area, and now inside the staging area I will commit it so that it can go to the my local repository. Now in my local repository I want to git push to make those files to push it on a remote repository, that is my remote repository. But if we want our remote repository file to be work as a working directory, so we have to pull all the files from our remote repository and give it to a working directory. And if we want our files from a local repository in a working directory, so we have to do git checkout. That will git checkout, that means we can making a branches, another branches where we are using different other features, experimental files. So we have to do this. Next, if there is another person computer or another teammate computer and we want their data in our remote repository, so we have to fork it, and inside the remote repository if we pull to a working directory and made other changes and get added, now then committed, then push to our remote repository, and then we want our data from a remote repository that should be included in the another person remote repository, we have to make a pull request. That pull request will be accepted or denied based on the another person choice that we have made a valuable files or valuable feature for their experiment, or that he or she want to include in it. And now if we the another person want to access our remote repository file directly to their system, they can clone it. So now we can see this is the whole map where we can see how the Git and GitHub works, and I will provide a PDF file with the other commands where you can use it for different action. And the main action I have tell you that what we have to generally use. So if you have any doubt, check out the description and you write in a comment. I will stay safe and stay creative.